Good morning. I'm so glad you're here today because I'm pretty excited about this topic. I've been talking about it all week with clients, with friends, and sort of like it started with the predatory empath work that I did last week. And man, that took off in ways I didn't even know it would. So it's opening something up, and I want to keep playing with this. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about intuition and the pineal gland and, what our skills and our systems and our energy can do, right? And then last week, we talked about empath, what an empath is, what empathic skills are. And so today, what I want to do is blend those two together and take it to the next notch, which is that, our intuition comes to us through our clairs. And I do a lot of work on the clairs with the Indigo Assignment. And these clairs are all about the ways that we access our senses, or we use our visualization, or we use our mind for knowing, and how our intuition guides us and gives us information at all times, right? And it is our way of remembering. So today I want to talk about the difference between intuition and trauma response. So before I get going, please like or share this and subscribe, because I'm trying to move my numbers up and do some posting and build an audience. So help me out. Okay, for me, intuition started with sort of chills down the back. Like I go, wow, that is some sort of a confirmation. And that started when I was in my teens, and I really realized that there was something there that was different than the normal information, right? Um, now, when I'm on track and I'm talking, what I know is that my entire body will start to tingle, which is like on track, Denise, on track. Sometimes sounds, sights will get really big in front of me, and start to talk, or at least the way that I say talk is that all of a sudden I didn't notice how beautiful that tree looks with the snow on it, and I walk by it every day, right? And so what it's really asking me to do, intuition, is to pay attention, because there's something that I'm thinking about, something that I'm feeling, something that somebody just said, something that's happening around me that needs me to focus in on it and expand it out. So it's like pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, right? Um, and what I like about that is that I'm looking for a card. Sorry, I thought I had cards out for that specific one, and I don't. I put them away. Okay, so there's always information there. So our intuition is talking to us, constantly letting us know that we are a big field that gathers information, and we have pieces of information. We have data, we have stories, we have skills, we have masteries that we don't even know we remember, right? Okay. So whether it is with time and practice, whether it's, learning to partner with this and watch the synchronicities, what happens is the more that I listen to those little nudges, those little things that happen, the better I get at following myself towards the direction I want to go. I call that partnering with the divine, right? Because the divine is me. It could be my higher self. It could be the inner me, the higher self. It could be my guides. It could be, God source talking. Whatever it is, it's communicating. So I know now that this intuition has been building. Now, trauma, this is different. And what I did was I put together some information on trauma, which is that it's an experience that creates a memory. And it's usually something severe that happened to you. Whether and it creates an anxiety and emotional distress. It's a response in the nervous system, in the mind, or in the cellular structure, right? So it could be a physical attack. It could be someone hit you, beat you, raped you, hurt you in horrific ways, right? It could also be experiences where you've witnessed or been personally involved in violence or war or bombings or shootings. It can also be verbal, mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual abuse suffered at the hands of somebody who was cruel or narcissistic, right? Punishment that was over the top. The example I would use is that, There are parents who make you go out into the yard to choose what kind of stick they're going to hit you with. My parents used to send me to the kitchen to go get the fly swatter and bring it to them so they could hit me with it. And I was like, fly swatters to this day, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not using those things. Right. So it's when we have unpredictable reactions, we don't really understand our emotions or energetic reactions. They come out of nowhere. They're flashbacks, they're physical symptoms. They're cued by people, places, and things, and they're also cued by vibration. So that's the interesting thing. They're cued by people, places, and things, but they're also cued by vibration. So I'm gonna really put it out there and just lay it down, which is as intended by design, because we have been subjected to trauma intentionally for hundreds and hundreds of years. Sort of like if you think about enslavement, if you think about if you're not very good at training a dog, you end up getting a dog collar or an electric fence that shocks them so that they stop doing what you don't want them to do because you can't find a way to communicate and they won't listen to you, right? So I think, this is my opinion, that we have been confused and triggered, and we have reactions within ourselves that are designed to shut down our skills and our powers, and have been for years. So when you shake a small child with abusive punishment, with harsh words, when you expose them to things that cause trauma in their body, what it does is it creates doubt, it creates fear. It creates the two things that get in the way of intuition, right? So parents, neighbors, teachers, assailants, situations, anything that blocks us from fully embodying is a personal, purposeful attempt to control us. It is purposeful also as a challenge to get us to grow past this. So that pay attention to that. It's purposeful to shut you down, and it's also purposeful in our soul contract, which is I got to learn how to get around this obstacle that I put in front of me. So when I wrote the Indigo Assignment, it was to bring your mastery into form into your world, from the world you came from the galaxy that you came from, and embody as a human into toxic bloodlines, into regions of the world, into family systems, school systems, work systems that were toxic and enslaved, and holding that enslaved condition, and to change it, to free it, which was what the Indigo's assignment is to go into places where it's really ugly, really sticky. And in order to prevent the indigo or prevent the Gen Xers or prevent those masters from being able to do this, what happened is they increased the trauma. They increased the wars. They increased the visualization of them on televisions. They increased ways that we have this nervous system reaction, and we don't even know if we're intuitive or we have skill sets or we're just losing it because we're out of control. So the path is in going after your trauma responses and neutralizing them or stabilizing them, finding out why they're there and sort of stopping them the best way that you can, whether it's through lovingly holding on to them, analyzing them, and saying, "This is what this is. I can hold it, but I don't need to feel it," so that you can harness your greater intuition and energetic skills and your frequencies, because that's what you're here for. So trauma ends up being a response. Trauma response ends up being something that blocks us from the skills and powers that we have. So I have 6 tips for you on what you can do about that. First is to know that you're going to feel and experience a zing. You're going to have memories. You're going to have hurts. You're going to have things that feel scary. They feel off. There's fear in there. There's discomfort. And I ended up titling the book Being Comfortable with Your Unique Masteries, because we have to learn how to get out of discomfort into comfort, right? That there are things that You don't really know why they're there, but you have to count on the fact that you're gonna get zinged, that they're gonna hurt, that they're gonna touch you, right? Okay. So number two, is to know that your body is going to guide you intuitively since these traumas happened. Because what we also know is anyone who's experienced trauma has things like hypervigilance, hyper observant skill sets. They're organized. They can even be really controlling, right? They can be super independent, especially women who've been traumatized. They're super independent. They don't want anybody near them to touch them or to help them. Or they can be intuitive. They can be dependent. They can be messy. They can be unable to take responsibility. Both of these are trauma energies. Both of these are responses that the victim has when they've had an experience. So we can go hypervigilant or we can open. And so I brought today the Rumi Oracle deck because there were some things that I wanted to show you. So first of all, this one is called Beyond the Threshold of Fear. And what I like is that there's this dark pinnacles and there's a light. So what we really want to know is that we're experiencing fear. We've identified that it can zing us in our body, and we have skill sets that have been developed, but we have to learn to get beyond the fear to something that is more beautiful, right? Where we can get to, I love this one, the passion for purpose, where we can get to everything that's really happening, right? And that you will show your own way. So this is really choppy, reactive stuff. And then we got to get to this on the other side. I love this. Okay. And talking about the Indigo Assignment, this is the human gift, which is to have these experiences and then to trust that you yourself, your divine light, your higher self will come and help you through this if you know how to sort of start paying attention and finding out what's there. Okay. And I'm not talking about this theoretically. This is the process I've been through in the last 40 years and the approach that I use in my coaching at all times. Right. So you got to know that you are like I'm super observant, I'm hyper vigilant, I'm super independent, and I don't let people in even though I work really well with people all the time. It's an interesting thing that I'm working with constantly. Number 3, decide to get to know the trauma response. So what does it feel like? When is it activated? What are my automatic responses? Is it to deny, to distract with something else, to self-medicate, to go into this I'm such a blah 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 negative self-talk, right? To go into fear, into freeze, into shutdown, into reaching out and clinging to others so that you feel safe, or to isolate. These are the things that we do when we have trauma responses, right? So it's the work that we need to do, and we can do it with someone who can help us. So this isn't something that we always want to take on by ourselves. What we want to do is we want to do this with someone who can guide us. So a therapist who's really good at trauma response, a coach who understands trauma response, narcissism, enslavement, all of that, or a shaman who can help you see, sort of separate out and see what is this trauma response, right? Um, Number 4 is to take action. Action is fire. Action is momentum. And Ashley Fraunheiser and I last week did Divine Fire. So that's another good way to sort of look at how action and fire works, right? And to use your elements because fire is going to give you action. Water is going to give you emotions and access to the fact that it's energy in motion. It isn't personal. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to hurt me. It just keeps zinging me. Air is going to give you clarity and strategy and in the ability to figure things out. And earth is going to help you embody because that's what we are really trying to do here is fully embody and stop getting zinged off of our embodiment so that we can show up present to who we are, right? Okay. So what we're talking about is when a trauma response happens to you is to courageously face it. Like really just like there it is. I need to do something with this so I can get to the other side, right? To go beyond the threshold of fear. I want to get to the other side of this. And so I'm going to go on this journey where there's wisdom and there's intuition and there's mastery and there's knowledge and there's remembering on the other side. I want to figure this out so I can get there, right? Number 5, use this to support yourself. And I'm a big believer in time travel. Like, if you want to go into meditation, if you want to go into a dream state, if you want to even just sit down and imagine that you, as the adult that you are, can travel back in time to that little girl or that little boy, cross time and space and go to them and breathe with them and go, "Hi, I'm here. You're not alone. This is me from your future. This is who I am now. I'm like this kick-ass adult, and this is who you're going to become. So let me sit with you so that this isn't as hard and as painful right now." And so when we really use our imagination and we go cross time and space and we work with that inner child, we let them know that we have tools for the future that we're building now, right? And then number 6, of course, always is that have compassion for yourself and for everyone, because we are individually addressing the ways that we have been traumatized, especially anyone born from World War II, well, I'm just going to say, because this is the majority of the age it's watching right now, World War II forward. Right. So you could be a baby boomer, you could be a Gen Xer, you could be a millennial, you could even be a new alpha. The issues are is that you're going to experience trauma, and that you can have a choice at all times to succumb to it, to check out and self-medicate, to get some attention from others when it hurts so that you develop a need for attention, or to learn and grow through it. And I think that that's why trauma is here, right? I think that trauma is here so that we can get to the purpose of who we are and what we're here for. So if this is interesting to you, please, again, subscribe, share it, pass it around. And there's information down below that you can contact me if this is the kind of coaching that you want. And also, if you haven't read the Indigo Assignment, I think it's a really good base book to get you started. And right now I'm working on the crystal assignment. So that's all vibration of the heart. So that's coming next. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching, and I will see you next week. Take care.